Find the idea. 1 plus rupee works only if one defender is overloaded. What would you play? Now rewind. Anatoly Karpov has white against Garry Kasparov in World Championship 32 Tich, KK2. The point is not to memorize moves. Watch how one side changes the threat order, overloads defenders, builds initiative, and makes the final tactic feel forced instead of random. First quiet clue. Quiet moves count when they improve the open file, block a defender, or prepare a forcing reply. This is the first real clue. Now 3. D4 is the next pressure test after 2. E6. Second pressure move. It makes a later tactic believable by improving the bishop route or limiting a reply. The previous checkpoint, 2. E6, changed the defender map before 3. D4. 3. D4 sets up the next question at 3. CX D4. Pause here, what changed after 3? D4? Third trade with a price tag. If the defender recaptures or ignores it, where the king can still breathe. The board is already drifting from 3, CX D4 toward 4, and C6. The board gets less comfortable for the defender. The overload is becoming harder to ignore after this move. Look back one checkpoint. 3, CX D4 made the position fragile enough for 4, and C6. This is how initiative grows before the punchline. The move does not win immediately, but it changes the tempo race. That is why 9. EXD5 is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 5. D6. Sixth greed warning. The capture looks local, but it changes the pawn shield near the king. A quiet detail from 5. D6 is still hanging in the air when 9. EXD5 arrives. The king moves out of the center and the rook joins the game. Now ask whether the central square is safer or only renamed. 12. O sets up the next question at 17. H6. Castle safety is useful only if the new shelter actually holds. 8th quiet clue. Quiet moves count when they improve the trade choice, block a defender, or prepare a forcing reply. 12. O is the clue that makes 17. H6 less random. The board is already drifting from 17. H6 toward 22. QXD6. 9th capture, defender removed. Material matters, but the real point is the queen access that opens after the capture. The previous checkpoint, 17. H6. Changed the defender map before 22. QXD6. This is the bridge to 26. AXP4, where the defender has fewer choices. 10th exchange, not just points. One guard leaves, and the rank switch around move 26 becomes easier to see. 26. AXP4 does not appear from nowhere. 22. QXD6 already shifted the pressure. That is why 30. QXD6 is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 26. AXP4. 11th trade with a price tag. If the defender recaptures or ignores it, which square is no longer free? Now 31. FXG4 is the next pressure test after 30. QXD6. Pause here, what changed after 30? QXD6? 12th visible prize, hidden access. After 31. FXG4, the final corridor is easier to use. The move before this changed the board's job list, so 31. FXG4 has more force than it first appears. 13th collapse warning. The check forces a reply while the open file stays weak. A quiet detail from 31. FXG4 is still hanging in the air when 31. QD4 plus arrives. 14th greed warning. The capture looks local, but it changes the dark square cover near the king. This position already has stress in it. 31. QD4 plus supplied the first part. Check with a purpose. The king answers first, so the back rank room can decide the next move. NF2 plus spends a tempo for the king. Where does counterplay go? That is why 35. RxF2 is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 34. NF2 plus. 16th defender audit. If one defender is gone and another is pinned to king safety, which piece has two jobs? The previous checkpoint, 34. NF2 plus, change the defender map before 35. RxF2. Pause here, what changed after 35? RxF2. 17th capture, defender removed. Material matters, but the real point is the tempo race that opens after the capture. 35. BXD3 does not appear from nowhere. 35. RxF2 already shifted the pressure. 35. BXD3 sets up the next question at 39. ND2. The board gets less comfortable for the defender. The shelter crack is becoming harder to ignore after this move. Look back one checkpoint. 35. BXD3 made the position fragile enough for 39. ND2. Initiative in plain sight. The defender can move, block, or trade, but the piece route still needs an answer. This is the bridge to 40. NXD1, where the defender has fewer choices. 20th visible prize, hidden access. After 40. NXD1, the trade choice is easier to use. A quiet detail from 39. RxD1 plus is still hanging in the air when 40. NXD1 arrives. Every check is a timing question. If the defender spends this move on survival, which defender cannot cover both threats? That is the proof behind the finish. The lesson from Kasparov Octopus Queen move wins is concrete. A tactic works when the earlier moves already changed the defender map. Replay the My Chess Coach lesson, solve the puzzles, and ask this before moving. What is the candidate move, which defender has two jobs, and what square proves it? Then replay the critical position once more and name the first clue before the final move. That question turns a flashy finish into a pattern you can use in your own games.